How's it going, Twitch? My name is Skull, and on behalf of East Asia Soft, welcome to today's stream. Today is Sunday, which means that it's time for me to continue my playthrough of True Colors: A Date with Deception. We're about halfway through the second of 3 routes of this game, so yeah, this game's about halfway done, somewhere around there. I guess we'll see what's going to happen next, because holy cow, last stream, a lot of stuff happened, and none of it was good. Hi Roth, how are you doing? So let's go ahead and load in. Where were we? Oh, I forgot to erase that. Oh well. And I can't erase this, so... Wow! Oh, I just realized, what are the odds that... Oh, those aren't the same time. I thought those were the same time. My bad. Anyway, so we were here. Part 2 of the Malik route. Wonder what's going to happen now. Everything feels so strange. Malik hasn't contacted me at all since last night. No texts, no breakfasts, no working together in the office. Since that night, not last night. Our coworkers seem to have noticed that we're not as close anymore, but that's all they're seeing it as. Drifting apart, or a lover's tiff. Thankfully, it's not become a massive source of water cooler gossip. Malik gives me the bare minimum interaction while we're at work, probably to tone down the severity of our fallout to everyone else. Other than that, there's nothing between us anymore. I can't even be mad about it. He has every right. To be honest, I'm still shocked that he didn't call the police on me after all. After what I did, I wouldn't have blamed him if he'd changed his mind and reported the incident. I'd half expected to arrive at work on Monday to a cop waiting at my desk. I guess he really hasn't told a soul about it. I'm incredibly grateful for that. Although now that I've had time to reflect on everything, I feel like I probably don't deserve such mercy. Quite a while has passed since I got home from work, but for me, it feels like the whole world is standing still. All I've managed to do is sit here at my couch, replaying it all in my head, and growing more depressed by the moment. I wish so badly that we could turn back time. The date that Malik and I had enjoyed before I unleashed hell upon him was so wonderful. We laughed, we kissed, we committed to each other. I want that back so much, and yet I know I can't have it. I ruined everything with my desperation. And it could have been worse. You could have died, hypothetically. That's what it was, wasn't it? An obsessive need to secure a love that would never betray me. That's what all of this is about. Considering my own past properly, I realize now that my parents are the reason I'm like this. They made me feel so insignificant that I turned to romance to get my share of love, to feel validated. I could admit that that's true. But the way I've treated people, I always felt like my actions were justified, like my partners deserved the way I manipulated them. There was just too much danger of them losing interest and ditching me, leaving me without the love I craved. Almost like it was my right to be able to treat them like that. I've been made to feel like nothing by my parents. As a result, I deserve to be able to gain and keep love in whatever way I saw fit. I'm a victim, not a villain. But Malik sees that very differently. He accepts that I've been hurt, but he sees my actions as toxic rather than the appropriate reactions of someone who's been wronged. Is he right? I could argue against it as much as I want, but there's one piece of evidence staring me in the face that proves my guilt. I drove him away. With my other relationships, I could imagine that some things were the other person's fault. With Malik, what happened is crystal clear. A genuine romance was blooming between us, and then I took what measures I thought were necessary, and it horrified him. I can't pin years of arguing or blurred lines of blame on that one. It was entirely my actions that lost me his affection. I guess perhaps he might be right. Have I been saying things wrong all this time? It's so hard to think about. This perspective is all I know. Oh, I was trying to figure out what your avatar was, Roth. It's, I had to hover my mouse over it. Arcane Season 2 premiere. Heard it was good. The more I question everything about myself, the worse I feel. It's almost like my own brain has been lying to me about who I am, and now that the mask has been ripped off, I can't stand what I see. Am I beyond saving? Or could I manage to do as Malik has done and work to improve myself? His story was pretty inspiring in a way. He learned from his mistake immediately, caught himself before he went full bad guy. He did everything he could to discover and nurture the things he liked about himself so that they drowned the flaws out. It worked beautifully, and now he's someone that anyone would strive to be like. Whether I could do something like that is highly questionable to me. I have no idea where to even begin, and I definitely don't like the idea of having therapy. It seems so cold and accusing, like confirmation that I'm evil or something. Actually, now that I remember, that's what Malik wants, isn't it? He gave me this second chance and let me escape rather than calling the police. He granted me that mercy because he wants me to turn my life around to avoid the same fate he dodged himself. If I don't at least try to do that, then I have wasted the compassion he showed me and disappointed him even further. I'm so scared. Scared to...
Understood.
Scared to fully realize just how much of a monster you are, I guess. Here comes the discount Temu Aussie boss. Are you listening, Skull? I don't want to have to repeat myself. I nod tensely, wishing that this conversation would end. It's Friday. Unlike my coworkers, who are laughing their way through the last day of the working week, I've been summoned to the boss's office. With the way I've been moping around all week, I should have seen this coming. It's not like you'd underperform like this. I would have given you a pass if it had been the odd day, but you've delivered consistently poor results this entire week. Everybody else is up to date and ready for your next project, but we're still waiting on your report. You know, we can't go ahead without it. Yes, sir.
Oh?
Is there a reason for the sudden slip, Skull? Is something going on at home? I can't possibly answer that question truthfully without landing both myself and Malik in hot water. It's complicated. The boss exhales in frustration, though there's a tiny hint of pity in his eyes. Well, whatever it is, I hope it resolves quickly for you. You're one of my best employees in this section. I need you back on form, you hear? He grips my shoulder and gives it a firm, encouraging shake. I nod again, appreciating the fact that he's not automatically just shredding me to pieces over this. He's a fair man.
Now then.
I'll give you a chance to get yourself together. I will have to take action if things don't change. He gazes at me worriedly.
Understood.
But I'm sure It won't get that. It won't get to that. But I'm sure it won't get to that. Right. No. I'll be better from now on. He nods with significance, as though holding me to a binding verbal contract.
All right.
All right, then. Now go on, get that report finished. He pats me on the arm and strides out of the room. I follow, going in the opposite direction and heading back toward my desk. I'd better take this seriously. The last thing I need after all this crap is to lose my job, too. I round the corner into our section. As I cross the room, I pass Malik's desk. Do I dare look at him? Summoning some courage, I give him a glance as I walk by. Yeah, that's what I expected. He shot me the tiniest of fake smiles just to keep up appearances, and then slumped down behind his monitor, out of sight. I hate this. Hoping that no one noticed the awkwardness, I hurry back to my own desk. I can't go on like this. Every time I see him, I feel worse about everything. I just want some kind of connection with him. Anything, as long as it's positive. The only thing that might make him start approving of me again is the one thing that seems practically impossible to do. But if I want him to look at me with appreciation once more, then I've got to get help. Or find some way to change my mindset for the better. Damn it, Alright. I guess I can give it a whirl. But where the heck do I start? How do you just magically undo years of toxicity and bad habits? I suppose that's not how it goes. You've got to work at it persistently over time until it gradually improves. Why are the most important things in life always so hard? I wish I had some help. I am not doing therapy. But if I had someone who was more well-versed in this stuff, then they'd probably be able to offer some good advice. The only person I know like that is Malik himself, and that's not going to work. Or is it? I don't know. If I ask him to help me figure some kind of plan out, then he'll see that I'm taking his warning seriously. He might actually appreciate that I'm trying to do something about it. That is true. Or he might just tell me to go to hell. Should I? I risk another glance across the room at him. He's back in his usual relaxed posture now that I'm not there, typing away calmly. I feel like it's pretty hopeless, but he did talk about second chances. Let me think about it.
Yo!
Down to the wire, Skull! Everyone's leaving! I know, I'm just checking the last paragraph. My eyes dart at lightning speed as I read over the final section of my overdue report. Seems okay. Alright, done. I save it, attach it. I don't know why I was struggling to read that. I save it, attach it to an email, and send it off. There! Now the boss can get off my back.
Wow!
Impressive! I don't think I've seen you hustle that much since the time you pulled that gaming all-nighter and fell asleep at your desk the next day. I forgot about that. At least I'm not like that all the time.
Huh?
You seen it? Yep, I'm back in the clear.
Sweet!
Sean scoots his chair underneath his desk and grabs his bag, ready to head out. I rush to do the same. I didn't have to finish the entire report today, but knowing how much I've already bothered the boss with my crappy performance this week, I figured I'd bust my ass and get it done. I was so in the zone that it actually took my mind off Malik for a while. Crap, speaking of Malik, where is he? Scanning the room, I notice him throwing some trash into the can near the whiteboard. He then goes back to his desk to collect his things. This is probably my moment, although I got so caught up in my report that I actually haven't had time to think about the idea I've had. Damn it, now I'm even more nervous. This could go horribly wrong. What choice do I have, though? If I want to do this, I feel like asking for his thoughts on it is probably my best hope. He really is the perfect person. He's been through a similar thing. Gritting my teeth and bunching my fists with anxiety, I brace myself and head over. Malik?
Huh?
Huh? Oh.
Oh.
What's up? I do my best to ignore how displeased he looks. I should have delivered that differently. Oh well. I know your answer will probably be no, but I was wondering if you'd talk to me about... I lower my voice to a hushed whisper, my eyes flitting toward everyone else worriedly. About what you told me last week. Improving yourself and everything. I really need some pointers on how to get started. He looks more directly at me, seeming surprised. I guess that's not what he'd expected me to say.
Oh?
Oh? Well, He glances around the room awkwardly and then turns slightly away from me.
I'd rather not.
I don't really want to be alone with you after all that. He practically whispers the words, but they hit me so hard he might as well have yelled them through a megaphone. I get that, and we don't have to be totally alone. We could stay in a public place if you want. I promise nothing like that will happen again. My insides cringe at the memory. I just have no fucking clue what I'm doing. I feel like I don't even know who I am anymore. I guess you know all this. You've been through it before. That's why I'm asking. I know you must hate me by now, and that's fair. But is it possible for us to talk about it just once? I won't pester you again after this. You're the only person I know who understands. God, I don't like how that sounded. I'm not trying to guilt trip him, but somehow it feels like it comes across that way. Malik gazes at me again, and I can't tell if that's a good thing or not, but he doesn't reply immediately. I stare at my shoes sheepishly, waiting for a response. He seems to really struggle with the idea. Eventually, he shifts his weight toward me, looking conflicted.
I guess.
Alright. Yes? We're doing this?
Honestly,
I feel pretty weird about it. But this is important, right? I nod eagerly. I want him to feel like I'm really trying to make a commitment here.
yeah.
Right. But we're staying in town. I'm not going anywhere private with you. Of course. No problem. He nods slowly. Okay, where to? The cafe stays open pretty late, doesn't it? My favorite one that we used to visit together? It's going to feel very strange going there with him after so much has changed between us. But if it means that he'll talk to me, then I'll do it. Yeah, that'll work fine. He nods again, straightening up and looking around, as though wishing he were leaving with everyone else instead. My heart clenches with sadness, but I hold on to the fact that he actually agreed in the first place.
Fine.
All right, let's go. He says this pretty unenthusiastically, striding toward the stairs. Swallowing my distress, I tail after him. Yup, it's definitely weird. We figured we'd better do our best to look normal rather than just sitting here having a stern conversation, so we ordered some food. At least I don't have to cook tonight. Malik sits across from me, chewing slowly and radiating discomfort. He might be regretting the fact that he agreed to this. I feel pretty crappy too. To everyone else in the cafe, we probably just look like two friends having dinner together. They have no idea what turmoil went on between us. So, what exactly did you want to ask me? Well, this is my shot. I better not waste it. Hi again, Borealis. And of course, this whole time, I'm trying to focus on Malik, but my brain just keeps going to, well, Ash went in Ash's direction, the Ash route. Malik's going in this direction. What's Brianna's story, I wonder? She seems like the sweetest person, and I'm not looking forward to Idiot Skull ruining her life. But I need to focus on Malik. I've still got him for another 3 weeks. That is an amazing looking burger. Again. I guess I've been thinking a lot about everything you said. I realize now that my parents and all of that childhood stuff. I take a sip of my drink to distract myself from my rising emotions. It made me too desperate and controlling. I was trying to get love and acceptance from other people, and I got forceful with it. It's so bizarre to actually be saying this out loud to someone, but as horrible as it feels, it does seem true. Yeah, I held off from saying this earlier, but I feel like I need to say it now. That's playing the victim. That's not accepting your responsibility. It's like, my parents made me who I am, that's why I acted this way. It's a start to at least admit that you have issues. And there is something to trying to find the root cause of the issue, but it also doesn't really matter, because you're supposed to just be like, what you really need to do is you need to accept that you have issues and you need to fix them. The why is secondary to the how, but hey, this is progress over, holding a knife to a guy's neck. It's not easy, though. No matter how much I lower my voice, it never feels like enough to hide my sins. I shouldn't have done any of the things I did to my exes or you. You're right. I need to get myself in check. I'm shocked at my own words, which are much better words that time. But I guess I really mean them after all. Things shouldn't stay the way they are. Malik continues to avert his eyes stubbornly, although he does nod. At least he's listening. So I was wondering, when you felt the same way about yourself, how did you start improving? Was it just trying random ideas or using online stuff, or I seriously have no idea what to do. A ragged breath escapes me, and I slouch over my food. It really does feel like I'm lost in a maze with no sense of direction. Malik regards me with an expression that I can't quite read. There's definitely irritation in there, but I feel like there's a hint of pity too. He puts his knife and fork down, facing me more directly. His eyes scour my disgruntled form, and then something about him seems to soften.
Well,
I guess I sorta did some self-analysis in the beginning. He gears himself up to explain. Sitting upright again, I listen attentively. I was so repulsed by how I acted that day that I tried to figure out why I suddenly did something so out of character. Obviously, my lack of relationships and sex was the main factor. I felt left out. I said enough about it before, no point repeating it. But that's when I kind of realized getting into relationships and losing my virginity was so important to me back then. Like the only thing I thought about most of the time. The longer I went on, the more obsessed I got. I'm getting the feeling that I'm like that too. I admit now that it was my fault that all my exes left. But with every new relationship that failed, the more desperate I became to make the next one work the way I wanted to. It makes sense.
Right?
And that sounds pretty stupid, right? He exhales a breathy, dark laugh.
Seriously?
If you had a friend who never shut the hell up about how unfair it was that everyone else was having sex and not him, you'd tell him to get real. Especially once I was in my 20s. It was kind of pathetic. Kids can be assholes about that stuff when you're a teen figuring it all out, but adult life is nothing like that. Being a virgin is really not that big a deal by that point, so I should have chilled out about it. This is a good life lesson to anyone who's watching this, just so you know. A lot less people were going to judge me by that then, and who cares about what other people think anyway? That's what I never got through my head when I was younger. It really didn't matter. Sex wasn't that important. There were so many other things in life that are more worthwhile. I realized that I wasn't seeing that at all. I was obsessing over something trivial. Trivial? I don't think I can entirely put that template onto my life, honestly. I don't consider relationships to be that trivial. Feeling loved by someone is probably the greatest thing in the world to me. I feel like this is a light bulb moment. I do understand what he's saying, though.
That's the way it is.
So I guess that was my next move. Ah, Borealis, you missed it. I had the discount Temu Aussie Boss. And I don't think he's going to be showing up again for a while. So I guess that was my next move. Figuring out what would actually make my life feel fulfilling, in place of just chasing something I don't necessarily need. I was a bit like you, I guess. I had no idea where to start at first. I never had many hobbies or friends, and I wasn't sure where I wanted to go in life. But then I just started trying things out. I kind of looked around at my everyday situations to see what else they offered, beyond what I took for granted. That's when I noticed that I liked watching the local sports games that popped up every now and then in my town. I swear he smiles just a little when he says this.
In fact,
My family aren't sports buffs really, but we usually check them out, just for something different and cheap to do. We always had a good time. I wondered why I'd never joined any myself. I was always alright at sports at school. I just didn't sign up for any teams or competitions. I guess being something of a loner had a lot to do with it. He rolled his eyes, but doesn't lose the optimism that seems to be creeping into his face. I kind of regretted all those years I wasted, when I could have given it a shot and had some fun. So I looked around for stuff I could do. Started playing games and working out by myself at the sports hall, or sometimes with my sister. Please tell me that Malik at least picked up Wii Sports and tried to do bowling for a little while. Because that's about the best that I've ever been at sports. Moved up to join in my local youth basketball group. Then scored a place on our town's softball team. He actually smiles. The fond memories seem to make him forget why he's here and who he's with. For a moment, I'm bowled over by his good looks, even though it's such a small gesture.
oh?
And you know what? I really found out a lot about myself. I was actually good at all this stuff. I really enjoyed doing it. It felt rewarding. especially when I helped my team to victory. And the best part? I made a super nice bunch of friends along the way. And I didn't even really need to try. It just naturally happened. The things I was missing before, fulfillment, friendship, they were just there all of a sudden. I felt much better about life because I had something I value to work on and take part in. He looks at me properly for the first time since we got here, fixing me with a meaningful gaze.
That's how I feel.
That's what you need to get from this, Skull. I found what I'm passionate about and made good friends. It had an effect on the way I saw my responsibilities, too. Suddenly, I was eager to start my life again, leave the negativity behind, become a better person. I wanted to move out, get a good job, and provide for my family. Be someone they could be proud of. And set my whole motivation up for life. And virginity? He cocks his head as though looking at something stupid.
Oh, man.
Who cares? The more I got into everything I was doing, the more I forgot about it. I gained a lot of self-esteem once I stopped holding on to dumb teenage worries. My life took a real meaning and sex just stopped being something I cared about. I felt content to let it slide and accept that it'd probably happen one day, but it didn't matter that it hadn't yet. Oh man, was he actually finally about to get laid for the first time in his life when Skull held a knife to his neck? Wow. I mean, that's not confirmed. That might change even with my very next button press, but like, that would just be bad luck. You're finally about to have sex for the first time in your life, and your partner pulls a knife on you, and there's a clarifying moment coming up. Oh, I'm sure, but like, just the thought popped in my head, and that's unfortunate, if that were true. He nods with conviction, almost to himself rather than me.
In fact,
That's something you can do too, you know. I'm sorry that I don't have a step-by-step manual on how to do this kind of thing. I guess I just bumbled through it myself. But it's definitely possible. He catches himself for a second as though he's just remembered something. I can't erase what I did to that girl. Stress floods his expression, and I really feel sorry for him.
that's kind of rough.
To be honest, I have times where I still hate myself for that. I don't think you can ever really stop feeling like that.
That's the way it is.
But it taught me a really important lesson, so I'm grateful. After everything that's happened since, I feel a lot more comfortable in my own skin. It must have really overhauled his outlook on himself. He always seemed so confident and chilled. That's not something you can really fake if you don't have much self-respect. I'm not sure how long we've been talking, but it just dawned on me that this whole conversation wasn't that difficult after all. Alec practically dictated a whole autobiography without me pressing for details. I guess he values this part of his life so much that it just poured out of him easily. I mean, wow. I really appreciate you telling me all that. Thanks. He stutters awkwardly, seeming to suddenly remember that it's me he's talking to. Sure. Don't know how much that helped. Well, I understand you a lot more now, and everything you said makes sense. I guess I might have had my own priorities a little out of balance. I'm still not sure about this, but it does seem like I might have become too hung up on relationships. I can't exactly force myself to stop wanting them, but I could probably stand to calm down about them somewhat. Maybe I can find something that makes me feel like my life's a bit more worthwhile. I say this with uncertainty, but I notice Malik nod out of the corner of my eye.
I guess so.
There's something for everyone. You just have to start giving things a go. He's fully flipped back to being stubborn again, almost ignoring me and returning to his food. Well, to be fair, it's probably getting cold. Knowing Malik, though, he probably ordered a salad. Details, details. I really didn't think he'd say this much, though, so I can't complain. I follow suit, going back to my own meal. In a way, he's given me something to think about. Actually, something's just crossed my mind. If he stopped bothering with the idea of sex, then... Hey, Wait, I better not ask this. It's too personal. You probably won't want to tell me of all people. I pause sheepishly, taking another bite of my burger. Malik's eyes slide toward me.
Huh?
What? Nothing. Doesn't matter. He shifts in his seat impatiently.
Hey,
Nah, go on. I don't like unfinished questions. Alright then. Did you... I cringe a little. Did you lose it, you know, in the end? I know I probably shouldn't be thinking about that at a time like this, but when I was at Malik's apartment, he was pretty forward. If I hadn't monumentally screwed everything up, we would have had sex that night. It just made me wonder how we got to be so flirty and suggestive. Don't tell me that would have been his first time. Malik almost glares at me for asking such a question, and I shrink with embarrassment again. Sorry, dude. You piqued my curiosity. After a moment, he seems to decide that it's not worth getting offended about. Yeah, I did. I had a couple of girlfriends toward the end of my time at home before I moved here. Proper relationships. They were nice, and yeah, that happened as a natural part of them. I wasn't aiming for it, it just fell into place. There! A small mercy in all of this. A very, very small mercy. Oh boy. Idiot Skull really is the worst. I nod, half surprised and half glad for him. Was it all it cracked up to be? I try to inject some humor into the situation, shooting him a tentative grin. He doesn't exactly send one back, but he does relax a little. Good things come to those who wait.
well,
It definitely wasn't the big deal I made it out to be when I was younger, but yeah, it was good. Deep and sincere connection with someone. I enjoyed it. That's great. I'm happy for you. We gaze at each other again. So much uncertainty between us. Then he puts his shields back up, averting his eyes again.
oh,
Thanks. He digs into his meal, finishing it with big mouthfuls, and then dives into his pocket. Pulling out a couple of notes, he slaps them onto the table between us.
look,
I want to call it quits. That's my share of the food. Oh, right. Okay. Sure. Thanks for doing this. Yeah. He stands up, collecting his things and looking awkwardly at me one last time.
I don't...
I'd rather not do this again for a while, you know. Ouch. Understood. He nods and then makes his way swiftly across the cafe without a goodbye, exiting out onto the street. He disappeared so quickly. But I get it. I'm lucky he even came here in the first place. Well, what did that gain me? I guess I know now that all I really have to do is just explore my interests until something jumps out at me. But that seems both too obvious and not enough. Malik's only been gone a matter of seconds, but the empty chair across from me feels like a gaping hole. Part of me had really enjoyed sitting here with him. Just double-click by accident. If I blanked out the awkwardness and the reason we were having this conversation at all, I could almost pretend that nothing had changed between us. Two workmates getting dinner together, embarking on a new relationship. Ah, stop it, Skull. You've thrown all of that away now. No use dwelling on it. I snatched the bills off the table, and my fingers tingled slightly with the knowledge that Malik had just been holding them. A little obsessive, I won't lie. He's given me some hints, but I still feel like this maze hasn't gotten any less complex. Morning. Kinda. It's Saturday, but instead of getting up and making the most of the weekend, I'm still curled up in bed. My spirit animal, I salute you. Sleep in as much as you can on the weekend. Granted, a cheeky lion is allowed on a day like today, but this is getting a bit beyond a lion now. I just don't want to move. Ah, because your bed is so comfortable. And no other reason, yes. I've been scrolling pointlessly on social media for hours now, doing nothing except wasting time. I still have yet to see an issue with any of this. That was me today. I won't lie, I didn't get out of bed until afternoon today. My goodness. Of course, part of that's because I only got like 3 hours 2 nights ago, and I just needed like a full night's sleep and then some to make up for it, but yeah. If I hadn't had work during the week, I probably would have spent every day like this. I guess I can't stop feeling sorry for myself. I have yet to read any issues. This is perfectly fine. No issue at all. You should use some of your money and call up like a... Is this a thing? You should call like a Grubhub or an Uber Eats, but instead of delivering food, they deliver like an in-bed massage. Just lie on your stomach, call up somebody to come and rub your shoulders for an hour, and it's a perfect weekend. I see this as an absolute win. The meetup I'd had with Malik the other day has only made me more depressed about my situation. I appreciated everything he told me, but the self-improvement task ahead of me feels so huge that I haven't been able to face it yet. I don't like moping around like this, but I don't know what else to do. Come on, Skull. There's gotta be some way of getting started. I tried to picture what it might be like if I branched out from my normal routine and tried something new, but it's hard to really see it in my mind. Well, if you don't normally sleep in and mope around in your bed, then this is something completely new. You're doing great. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this at all. This is actually good. Idiot Skull, you're doing a great job. You are actually making yourself a better person right now by staying in bed and doing nothing. I don't make the rules, I'm stating facts. I'm pretty sure the way I feel about myself is what's holding me back. Not so long ago, I felt completely justified in how I saw the world and the things I was willing to put people through for my own satisfaction. Now it couldn't be more difficult. I fully accepted how depraved my actions were, and I can't stand to know that I've turned out this way. I really am a piece of shit, aren't I? Well, I would hope that you would get up and at least use the bathroom before getting to that point, but... Replaying past events in my mind, spanning back way farther than just my time with Malik, it's all so horrible. We should call up Malik and thank him. Don't do that. He's made it clear he wants to keep his distance, but next time we see Malik, we should thank him. You gave me a lot to think about, and I decided to stay in bed the whole weekend and do absolutely nothing. It's made me so much better. Can't thank you enough. Malik, the guy who like goes jogging when he's bored and and has like a shredded 8-pack and stuff like that, has inspired the main character to lie in bed and do nothing. It's like I'm seeing it through a different lens, and the view is so repulsive. It makes me wonder if there's any chance at all for me. But I said I'd try. Malik didn't put his own comfort aside and give me all that advice just for me to ignore it. Here's an idea. You could take up the piano and or the flute and find a partner who plays the piano and or a flute. You guys learn a suite from the planets. That'll help improve your self-confidence. Trust me. I drop my phone onto the bed, gazing at the ceiling as I think. Maybe I should put all the heavier self-improvement stuff aside for now and just follow my interests. Pursuing my passions seems easier than the rest of it. Oh yeah, there was that one Easter egg from Venus in the Ash route. I didn't see one in the Malik route. Is there one in the Brianna route, or was that like a thing that you could only catch by playing the Ash route? I mean, I'll probably find out myself eventually because I'm playing Brianna later. So, but yeah, I'm just curious. But what am I passionate about? I don't really know. The Ash route is the only one. Well, I think it's safe to say one of these routes might be your favorite. Or is it just because it works so well with the Ash route? Just the placement of it worked better there than with Malik and Brianna. Again, haven't played Brianna's route yet, so I have no idea what to expect from it. But is it more of just like you wanted an Easter egg and that was the only place it really worked, or because you liked Ash the best of the three and you wanted to blatantly show your favoritism by putting an Easter egg to your other game in that route? I seem to live the same day on repeat for most of my life. Working at the office, coming home, playing a game, or watching TV, and then going to bed and repeating. Perfect then. There you go. Just coincidence. The monotony of it all is what had me so fed up before Malik, Ash, and Brianna appeared and made things a little more interesting. That's true. That's actually a good callback. We didn't really follow up with the monotony of it in the Ash route, but we are here in the Malik route. The story actually starts with the protagonist looking in the mirror being like, okay, here we go again, same old, same old. It didn't lead anywhere with Ash, but that's absolutely a callback here. That's cool. There's no real passion in there. I do enjoy gaming, and a great movie is always fun, but they're not really hobbies that I could turn into anything bigger. Yeah. What must it be like to be able to do gaming for a living, or for a passion that you do all the time? Can't imagine getting paid for it. And for anyone watching this who wants to turn Twitch into a career, don't. Save yourself the trouble. Well, I never really noticed before, but the types of games, TV, and movies I like are all very fantasy-based. I like things that are thrilling, exciting, and somewhat removed from the familiarity of real life. I do get quite into it. Like, have you ever watched a movie and imagined that you were the main character? I do that quite a lot. It's fun to make believe that you're a superhero, or a fighter pilot, or a sorcerer taking down evil forces. I guess that childlike sense of whimsy has never fully left me. You should join a D&D group. that. Oh man, Protag joins a D&D group and that'll solve all of their issues. Maybe it's because my life has turned out so damn boring. I like to put myself in this character's shoes and imagine how I'd feel if their situation was happening to me. I've always been aware that I did it, but I figured that it's just the way I enjoy things. A sense of escapism from daily life. That's what entertainment's all about, isn't it? Should be. But now that I'm considering it properly, could it be something more? If I like projecting myself into the games I play and the movies I watch, then wouldn't I enjoy doing it in other ways, like acting? Yes. I've never done any kind of acting in my life beyond the silly plays they make you do as a kid in school. I guess I could try something like that now in a more professional environment. I'm not sure that's entirely my scene, though. I've always enjoyed acting, and I always will. For me, it's less about pretending to be someone else, and more just... Maybe it is about pretending to be someone else. I don't like to pretend to be a completely different person. I like pretending to be a character. Or a caricature. I guess the best way to describe it is I like being like a stereotype. I like swapping over and just being someone that I could never be in real life. And it often scares my fellow actors. I'm doing voice acting now, and it scares them how oftentimes whenever I'm doing a voice, I could just slip straight into the voice without any warm-up. And like, I not only get the voice right, I get like the fluctuations and the vocabulary and the attitude and stuff, and I just slip right into it. To me, it's like turning off one switch and turning on another, and it scares them because they need warm up. They need to get into the character's mindset. Like, what's their past been like? What are they thinking right in this moment? For me, it's like I just suddenly become the character, and to me, it's fun. I do it because it's fun. That's why I enjoy it. Excuse me. I guess I could try something like that now, in a more professional environment. I'm not sure that's entirely my scene, though. It's really easy to just watch a movie and pretend that the person on the screen is you. The whole thing's dictated to you without you having to think much. Actually standing on a stage and having to be that person from scratch seems way harder. Am I the kind of person who could enjoy that? I'm not that optimistic about the idea somehow. How would I even get into it anyway? Searching for my phone again, I find it nestled underneath the blankets. I tap out some very hesitant search terms. Acting classes in my area. Local theater group. Adult fantasy roleplay. That might mean something different from what you think it means. Hi, Andrea. No, wait, that last one's not right. Yeah, you think? Let's go back to local theater group. Scrolling through the results, I mostly see things that are too big for me. Organizations that are well established and do super serious stuff on a regular basis. However, there's one that catches my eye. Seems like there's a group of theater enthusiasts who meet at a practice hall in the city a couple times a week just for fun. Amateur level group. No professional experience required. No serious commitments. We do whatever we like, whenever we like. I always did enjoy improv. I usually always won at improv. Usually when I was in college, I was with my theater group. My junior year, we did a play called All I Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten, which was awesome. And a lot of the warm-ups we did were improv with other actors, and we always tried our best to make the other actors break character or laugh or something like that. I won so much, they didn't let me play. Towards the end there, they thought it was very unfair that I was just so good at it. They told me to sit down and let them do it, because clearly I was fine with my acting. They needed to improve, so. Improv is fun. And also, who's on first? I love performing Who's on First. Let's share our love for the screen and stage together. Show us your best Gollum impression. Precious! Nice. Oh, what's this? It says at the bottom of the page that they don't even pressure you to join in. You could just show up and watch. I mean, I'm not sure why I'm so reluctant. Maybe it's just old habits talking and not wanting to break out of my usual routine. Which is ridiculous. Wasn't I just complaining a matter of weeks ago that my life was so dull? A simple internet search has proved that there are probably a million things I could be doing with my time. I just need to get off my butt and do them. If this theater group is as casual as they seem, and you're allowed to just watch and not take part, I could at least do that, couldn't I? If it's not for me, I could say that I tried and go back to the drawing board. There'll be other things online that I can look at. When's the next meetup? Oh, tomorrow? Good! Means you don't even need to leave the bed all today. This is perfect. The universe has made this the best Saturday ever. Well, that's basically a sign, isn't it? It's right there for the taking. All I have to do is show up. Staring at my phone hesitantly, I wrestle with my procrastination. I reread the address where the meetup is taking place. I basically know where that is. 2 p.m. All right, but I'm not joining in. Not yet. And if I don't feel right there, then I'm not going again. Excuse me. Hey, isn't this the same building as the train station? Well, here I am. It's almost 2 p.m. and I think the building I'm looking for is just down the street. I should make it on time. I feel pretty weird about this, but then I'm so used to my usual routine that anything would feel strange. Now that I think about it, almost everything I've done since the new hires joined the office has been odd for me. Yeah, you remember that time that you dreamed that you died? It was crazy. It absolutely didn't happen. The extra socializing, the lunches with Malik at the cafe, the dates. Yeah, I probably shouldn't think too hard about that. Hang on, this is the place. Looks like the image on the website. Well, I guess I got nothing to lose. I've done plenty of unexpected things lately. Might as well add another one to the list, right? Trying to motivate myself, I shrug off my apprehension and go inside. Ooh, pretty. Huh. This is a nice space. They've got mirrors for dancers and even a grand piano at the back. I bet it's used for all kinds of things. It's also pretty busy, filled with people chatting and laughing. Unfortunately, it makes me instantly feel like an intruder. It looks like I'm the only stranger here. Everyone seems to know each other already. They must all be regulars. Yeesh, this is probably gonna be awkward. Oh well, suck it up, Skull. They've already spotted you. A lady in cheerful pink joggers and a matching hoodie makes her way over from a nearby table. Hi there! Is this your first time in the group? Yeah, I just found your ad online yesterday. Ah, cool! Didn't think I recognized you. We shoot each other those typical sheepish first meeting smiles. So, what made you want to come along today? Are you looking to take up acting as a hobby or career? Or are you just hoping to find other people who share your interests? My stomach lurches as I fight my brain's immediate scramble to make the smallest commitment possible. I was just checking out what events were around to see if there was anything I liked. I'm quite into movies and games, but I've never acted properly. I don't think I'll join in today, if that's all right. I add that last part as casually as I can to hopefully not make it sound like a flat-out refusal. Oh, that's totally fine. We have a few regulars who don't actually participate themselves, but they always come along to watch. A couple of them help us to promote our local events, too. She gestures towards 3 people sitting on the front row of seats, an older retired couple and a middle-aged woman. At least I'm not the only one not getting involved then. That's a relief. I could just chill with these guys and spectate. Feel free to sit wherever you like, and if you have any questions, just ask anyone. Take one of these, too. She hands me a flyer with from a pile on the table, which has more in-depth info about the group than what I'd seen online. Thanks. I'll check this out. She nods with a smile, and I head into the room properly. I don't really feel up to introducing myself to too many people right now, so I make a beeline for the chairs she'd pointed at. I plop myself down on a few seats away from the other 3 spectators. They recognize me as a newcomer, welcoming me warmly. They quiz me gently about my reason for being there, and I guiltily repeat that I don't really want to join in, at least not yet. Thankfully, they get it. The retired couple tell me that they met at an amateur acting club when they were young, and both tried to pursue acting professionally. When it didn't work out, they settled for watching and supporting anything to do with acting in their local area. The other lady laughs, saying that she's hopeless at acting, but that her daughter is a regular participant. I nod through the conversation politely. It's definitely comforting to know that I won't be the only one sitting back here not doing anything. So, I could see this potentially not ending very well. If Idiot Skull gets good at acting, maybe they can persuade Malik they've become a better person when they really haven't. Of course, they'd have to be a good actor. Of course, they did, persuade Malik to, yeah, so this could end poorly, very poorly. Guess we'll see. Excuse me. Thankfully, someone else calls everyone to attention, and I'm saved for more small talk. The leaders of the group take the actors through some warm-up exercises for both their bodies and voices, including a set of pretty embarrassing tongue twisters. To sit in solemn silence on a big black block. No, on a dull, dark dock, yeah. To sit in solemn silence on a dull, dark dock in a pestilential prison with a lifelong lock. Everyone giggles as they trip over their own mouths. I squirm at the thought of having to do it myself, if I eventually end up giving this a go. When this is over, they split into smaller groups and take turns acting out some small scenes that they must have been working on since last week. The first group recite a scene from a famous movie series, trying to do impressions of the characters. They're not too bad at it, but one guy forgets his lines and has to grab a copy of the script. Wonder what the movie was. The second group are very different. They perform a fast-paced comedy skit. Who's on first? I don't know how long they've been practicing it for, but they've got it down perfectly. Their responses and movements all flow very naturally, and they do such a good job that I almost forgot where I am for a second. I feel like I'm watching an actual TV show. It breaks the awkwardness of this situation a lot, especially when one part makes the woman sitting closest to me cackle loudly with laughter. It sets the whole room off giggling, including me. When the third and final group start getting into their sketch, a dramatic argument scene between a cheating lover and his partners. Hold up. Whoa. Okay. I actually start to feel pretty relaxed. This is good entertainment, and I didn't even have to pay to be here. Plus, I quite admire these people for getting up there and giving it a go. You can tell that some of them are just here for something to do. However, the rest of them seem pretty passionate about acting and are genuinely giving it their best, and they're doing pretty well. I can imagine some of them on the big screen, even though none of them are professionals. It's just the effort they put in. It's pretty cool, actually. When the last group are done, the leaders announce that the session will close with a full group improvisation. They dictate a prompt, a department store, and give them total freedom to make the scene up as they go along, encouraging as much seriousness or silliness as they like. No rules. Whose line? Whose line is it anyway? I know for a fact you guys have that over there across the pond. In fact, I'm pretty sure you guys had it first before we imported it. I guess this is a good practice for learning to be flexible with your acting and coming up with good lines on the fly. One of them turns to the four of us sitting down and says that we're also welcome to join in with this part. You love whose line? Yes. Things you could say about your car but not your girlfriend. You could fit 5 in the back all at once. Naturally, I freeze up a little, especially when several actors start beckoning us all to get up. The retired couple jump to their feet with grins and the group cheer. They then turn back to the rest of us, hoping for a full house. Oh, God. I've enjoyed watching, but I still don't really feel ready to join yet. Especially since so many of these guys are so good. Please don't drag me up. Hoedown. You have hoedowns committed to memory? Holy cow. I don't remember a single one of those. I glance at the other lady. To my relief, she shakes her head as she chuckles, staying firmly put. Yes! Stick with me, random lady! We can ride this out together! I smirk and add my own polite refusal. Admitting defeat, the actors laugh and turn back to the center of the room. Whew. Dodged it. There's an awkward pause where no one's quite sure how to get the ball rolling. Then a guy drags a nearby table over and stands behind it, posing as a cashier. People start jumping in randomly, and the scene picks up momentum much more quickly than I thought it would. Before long, there are 3 girls fighting over who gets to buy the last wedding tiara. A janitor almost loses his will to live after a man keeps knocking things over in the food section, and the retired couple start up a hilarious argument with the cashier about expired coupons. It's total chaos by the end, but everyone's having a great time, and I feel myself grinning happily as I watch. They're so smart to be able to just conjure this whole narrative out of thin air. I'm glad that I didn't get involved this time, but the protagonist in me does start to awaken somewhat, like it does when I watch movies. What would my character do if I was among them? Maybe I'd be an unexpected arrival amid the arguing girls and snatch the tiara up for myself while they're all squabbling. Or I could be a well-meaning klutz who tries to help the poor janitor clean up, only to accidentally smash everything I touch, making his job even harder. There are all sorts of possibilities. I'm not saying that I'm going to throw myself in wholeheartedly if I come back again, but I have to admit that I am feeling a little inspired. I wonder if I could portray a role as effectively as these people can. I'm rattled out of my train of thought by everyone clapping, and I join in hastily as I realize the session has come to an end. Well, I got a funny afternoon out of this, if nothing else. People begin to disperse and leave the room, and I stand up to follow suit. However, before I can make it past the chairs, the lady who'd greeted me when I arrived catches me. How was that for you? How was that for you? Did you enjoy it? Yeah, it was great actually. Everyone's really good at what they do. I'm glad that I can genuinely mean that. She seems to sense my honesty. Awesome! We do have some really talented people here, but anyone can do it. A couple of actors nearby hear her say this and make their way over. That's definitely true. My girlfriend has never acted in her life before we found this group, and yet she's easily one of the best members we have. No, I'm not that good. I just enjoy it. I think that's the thing with stuff like this. If you're enthusiastic, it'll shine through and make you better at it than you expect. The others nod in agreement, and I smile. What about you, then? Have you ever done anything like this before? I launch into a short explanation about my lack of experience and why I decided to look at this group. Of course, I don't mention that as part of an attempted self-improvement period brought on by the realization of my own manipulative and possibly life-threatening tendencies. I just state that I'm looking for a new hobby. Do you think you'd like to give acting a go then, after seeing how we do things? Would you like to give it a try next time? Ugh, she put me on the spot. I still don't know, really. Are you kidding? Borealis, if you love me, you will tell me that this decision doesn't matter. Please tell me this decision doesn't matter. Oh. You press the touchpad and you just get the background. Cool. You really want to know? I kind of do. But also not really, because I feel like that's cheating. I'm leaning towards no, it doesn't, because if the Ash route was anything to go by, you had 2 bad outcomes before the second half, and then only one possibility of a bad outcome, and that was the final decision you make. So I'm kind of thinking maybe Malik's the same way. I'm hoping. You know what? No, I don't want to know. You won't spoil then, okay? We're going to option 2, just because I like acting. So the idiot protagonist must too. That's how video games work. I'm not sure, but I am kind of curious. Let's go ahead and save there. Second half, second decision. Excuse me. It's true. I have no idea whether I'd even be any good at this, but something's making me want to test the waters and find out. I'm just hesitant about taking the plunge. My non-committal answer still makes everyone smile nonetheless. Well, there you go. Everyone starts somewhere. There's no pressure to join in, but you'd be absolutely welcome to start whenever you'd like.
Yeah, give it a go. You already have everything you need, an interest, and the curiosity to look into it. Technically, you already took your first step by coming here today.
Huh. I guess I did, didn't I? I wasn't even going to show up at first, but I motivated myself to do it anyway. Maybe I do have the spark or flare or whatever it is. I just haven't tapped into it. And remember, everyone's a beginner at first, so don't worry about not knowing what you're doing. Yep, also true. Oh, hey! Why don't you look at the script we've got for next week? We still have unassigned roles. She jogs over to the back of the room, grabbing some sheets of paper and rushing back across to us. We've been planning to do a full group recital of a few scenes from a play, but not everyone has chosen a role yet. It's not for anything important, just another fun thing to try in these meetups. We were going to start next week if we had the main roles filled, but we're missing a couple. I think this character has the least lines. She offers a handful of stapled pages to me, and I take it hesitantly. If you wanted to see how you'd like acting, you could have a read through this part at home and try voicing it in the scene next week. This character only actually appears once in the play, so you wouldn't have much to learn. It takes some pressure off it being your first time. Oh. Okay. I mumble a vague response, scanning the pages distractedly. This is a bit sudden and unexpected. Not having many lines is a good thing, but I'm still not sure about any of this. Plus, I just noticed that the character she's given me is the villain of the story. Figures. That's all I'm good for, isn't it? I'm the villain in fantasy and in real life. My main character, the villain, is the funnest role. You could become completely unhinged and just embrace it, and it's the most fun you can have, and it's the most fun the audience will have. Let me put it this way. The guy who plays Luke Skywalker has been voicing the Joker in Batman TV shows and video games now for over 30 years. And you can tell he just really, really loves doing it. Case in point. Oh, stop it, Skull. Now's not the time for dark self-deprecation. I can read. I try to come up with a response, but I'm a bit caught off guard with how she sprung this on me. I think my struggle is obvious as the lady passed my arm encouragingly. Don't worry about committing to it now. Take that home and check it out in your own time. If you come back next week and don't want to do it, that's okay. I just thought it'd be a good starting point for you. Thanks. I'll think about it. I can do that much, I suppose.
That's the spirit. Hopefully we'll see you again, huh?
He beams optimistically at me, and I feel kind of pressured to agree. Yeah, maybe I'll see you next week. They all thank me for coming, finally letting me go. I skitter out of the room, still clutching the pages in my hand. Well, I feel a little inspired, but also kind of dazed, and very unsure of what I've gotten myself into. I've heard this song. Oh, this is the song that plays at the beginning of the game, isn't it? When main character's looking in the mirror. That's what you think, is it? I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it's already too late. There's no way you can stop me. I'm assuming that they're a better actor than that. I drop the papers I'm holding and start hammering at my keyboard, realizing that I haven't finished the email I'm writing. I'm going to assume that they're a better actor than that. If there are any further questions about the application process, I'm available to answer all queries from Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Regards, Skull Administration Team. Right, let me just make sure I haven't accidentally typed anything weird in there. Nope, it's good. You always do that. Then you reread it like 6 months later and you realize, oh, I wrote that wrong. I click send and snatch up the papers again. There's no way that you could stop me. Yeah, maybe I should emphasize those two words a bit more. Yes, I'm practicing the script lines and working at the same time. Is that such a crime? After having this role suddenly thrust upon me the other day, I've been in a bit of a blur as to what to think. I'm still not sure if I really want to get fully involved in this acting thing or whether I'd rather just be another supporter. However, having the script laying around in my apartment kind of felt like I was being constantly prodded for attention. So here I am, secretly attempting to learn the lines while juggling my work at the same time. I think I'll be too tired after work to absorb it properly, so I'm sneaking it in during the day. As long as the boss doesn't see, it's cool, right? If he doesn't catch you, no crime was committed. Okay, what's next? The police officers talk for a bit, and then my next line is... Alright.
Look.
Skull! Malik? When did he get here? Sorry, dude, I was miles away. I stare up at him in shock. This music is new. Not just because he'd startled me, but also because I'm surprised that he's come over to my desk. We haven't really spoken at all since that awkward talk at the cafe.
Fine.
It's fine. He looks kind of uncomfortable about being around me. It still stings, though I'm sadly getting used to it by now. I left my USB stick at home by accident. Can you send me the blank template for the new invoice layout again? Oh, sure. Do you need a physical copy too? Nah, electronic is fine. Do people still use USB sticks? Genuine question. I feel like everything now is either all digital in the cloud or through email or Google Drive or something, or you simply use your phone as a USB stick. And by the way, I got one of these phones. And the battery, I mean, I've had this phone now for 2.5 years, and the battery barely gets me through a day anymore, so, yeah, it's a really cool phone, and 512 gigabytes of storage, love it, but, I'm probably going to need a new one before I go to Asia. This thing would probably last for all of 4 hours with all the filming I want to do in Shanghai. Nah, electronic is fine. That's fair. That's fair, Borealis. For myself, I have 3 hard drives and a second laptop and this phone and other phones that I use to back up the really important stuff. PSA to everyone, back up your work physically. Don't use the internet. You might think it's convenient, but all it takes is one bad day and you're going to lose everything. Physical, if you back up in multiple areas, it's probably fine forever. There you go. Just gave you that little nugget of wisdom for free. Shoving my script to the side, I search through my files to find what he needs. As I click around the screen, his eyes drift toward the cluster of papers curiously. Didn't Ash catch Idiot Skull reading the self-help book in the other route too? It's like poetry, it rhymes.
Oh?
What's all that? Just some stuff. I'm about to brush it off, but then I realize that it might be a good thing if Malik knows what I'm doing. If he sees that I'm actually trying to broaden my horizons, then he might appreciate it. Well, this is actually a script. I went to this acting group thing at the weekend, and they gave me some lines to learn. My eyes dart around the room mischievously on impulse. Don't tell the boss. I'm cramming between emails. I shoot him a stunted grin, not expecting him to return it. He doesn't, but his expression definitely shifts.
Huh?
Acting group? I didn't know you were into that. He actually forgets about the weirdness between us for a second, stepping closer to peer at the script. I'm trying to think if I even have any USB drives. If I do, the biggest I would have is like 8 gigabytes or something like that, something really small. The kind of thing that you would probably back up Word documents and stuff like that, not like not anything bigger than text files, really. Maybe a few pictures. Pictures these days are gigantic. I'm not really. Well, I've never tried it before. I'm just looking for new hobbies, you know, like you suggested. I automatically lower my voice at the last part, feeling sheepish and a little bitter about that strange and distant day we shared. He nods slowly, suddenly seeming to have a lot of thoughts running through his head. Oh. That's cool. He doesn't say anything more, but keeps glancing at me with looks that I can't read. I feel like he might want to ask me more about it, but our relationship is probably too weird and unstable now to allow it. I shake off the gloomy feeling as it gives me, and put my attention back onto my computer screen to complete his request. There, sent the template. If you need anything else, just shout. My words seem to knock him out of whatever daydream he'd been in, and he straightens up.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Good luck with that. He nods at the scripts, and I smile briefly in thanks. He shuffles back to his own desk awkwardly. I'm not sure what to make of that whole interaction. I really wish Malik would be open to another conversation so that I could offer him a genuine, heartfelt apology for everything I put him through. I'd love nothing more than for us to be on good terms again. I guess that's not likely to happen, though. At least not anytime soon. So, Borealis, I'm going to assume that the music was like one of the last things you decided for the game. Did you like get access to a music library and just sift through it until you found songs appropriate for various parts of the game? Or is this the kind of thing where you actually thought of the music as you went through, as you were writing the script? You know, some people listen to music when they write to put them in the mood. I used to do that, and then I realized music is actually really distracting to me, and I can't write unless it's, like, completely quiet. Like, if my door is open, then I can't focus on writing because it means that at any moment my wife might come in and I need to give her my attention. So, but yeah, like, music. Tell me about it. Do that. Anyway, I better get back to something I can actually make progress with. I pull my keyboard toward me, getting ready to type up my next email. Stealthily, I also drag the script back across the desk. At least I've got one thing going for me. I'm a lean, mean, secretive multitasking machine. Until you start writing your script into your emails. I'm back again. There really weren't many lines to learn on the script, as promised. I'd managed to memorize them during my cheeky office study sessions. Thanks to... Cold water while talking is not good for your throat. Thanks to this, I'd cracked and decided to just give it a whirl. I enjoyed watching everyone else do it, so I might as well see if joining in is fun too. I'm standing at the side of the room, waiting for the scene where my character shows up. The guys who are playing the police officers are with me, and we all share awkward smirks as we loiter. Oh, you do this music yourself? Holy... My apologies, I thought that you pulled this from some sort of a licensing library. Okay, that's really cool. I mean, I knew you were a musician. You said you'd been in a band, and just your writing for Venus made it pretty obvious. At the very least, you knew stuff about music. So I just didn't realize you actually made all the music yourself. That's so cool. It's very cool. I guess that means that the game is even more your own. I've played so many games. And there's nothing wrong with this, but I played so many games where listening to the soundtrack, I'm like, I've heard this somewhere before in another game. Because, you know, especially if you're an indie developer with like one person in a basement just making something in their free time, it's way easier to just license out a song or two for your game that most people will beat in an hour anyway. So actually having your own dedicated music for your games is like, wow, that's a whole other level, and that's awesome. That's praiseworthy. It must have been a lot of work, but it's really cool. Excuse me. The actors in the middle of the room work through their parts with a little hesitance, since we're all new to this play. There are moments of confidence, though, as people reach the lines that they really like, or parts they've memorized particularly well. I don't know how I'll do in comparison, but I guess I'll find out very soon. And scene change! Confrontation time! Yikes, that's me. Everyone rushes towards us exiting the stage. I scramble to swap places with them, jogging clumsily into the empty space alongside the other people in my scene. The two policemen get into their opening stances, and I dart across the room to stand further away from them. I'm supposed to be hidden at the start of the scene. The leader gives the signal, and the other actors begin their conversation, pretending to shine torches around the room in search of me. I linger in place, feeling pretty weird and unsure of myself as I watch things unfold.
Seriously, we should just go back. It's probably long gone. No, I swear, we almost had him. If we get him in that cell tonight, then less people will have to die.
That's my cue. All right, Skull. You're not you right now. You're a nefarious mass murderer who's been giving the cops the slip for months, and nothing can get in your way of your evil plans. Taking a deep breath, I stride calmly into the scene as though I've just walked out from around a corner. That's what you think, isn't it? The two actors do a great job of flinching as I speak, as though shocked at my sudden arrival. They shine their invisible torches into my face, and I do my best to let their acting fuel my own boldness. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it's already too late. There's no way that you can stop me. The words spill out of me as I run through the script in my head. As the scene progresses, I start to get into the swing of things. It felt really strange at the beginning, but the longer it goes, the easier it becomes. By the time my last line arrives, I'm actually striving to deliver it with as much punch as possible. When the scene comes to an end, the non-participants give us a round of applause. Even the other actors join in. You must have done all right. We grin as we race back to the side of the room, letting the others take center stage for the final scene. At the end, there's another round of claps as we all congratulate each other. Well done, everyone. That was pretty good for the first run-through. Did you enjoy it? Plenty of people nod and shout happy replies, and I find myself smiling along with them. The whole thing has been easier than I thought it'd be, and honestly, it was kind of fun. Since the play was quite long, the session ends there for today. Once again, I'm interrupted before I could make any kind of escape. This voice. Absolutely, I'm a solo dev, so I know the struggle to fill gaps you aren't capable of. Yeah. Your stumbling block is character/background artwork. You can do everything about the dev process except digital art. Well, hey, at least you're supporting artists, yeah. Artists who know what they're doing are worth their weight in gold. I'm of the opinion that many of them do not charge enough for their artwork. I have a commission for a video that I am publishing on my main channel next month. It's a Christmas themed thing, and there's 3 different art pieces. One of them cost me $400, and I thought that was fair. That was about what I was expecting, so I was happy to pay it. The other 2, who I thought were around the same quality and notoriety, like they were famous for this particular kind of art that I was doing. They only charged me $100 each, and I was like, look, let me at least give you a precious tip, a really good tip, gracious tip, that's the word, because I think that the art was worth a lot more than just $100. And you know, there's going to be plenty of people who are like, well, you spent $600 plus on art for a video? Well, yeah, because the artists earned it. They are really good artists. Not to go into detail on, you know, how much I spend on art and stuff like that, but oftentimes whenever I purchase art, whenever I commission art for certain things, I'm surprised that it's often a lot less than I expect. And I assume that's because, you know, they need to strike a balance between what they're worth versus what people will pay, but artists, I think, oftentimes charge too little for their time, their efforts, and especially their talent. And hey, for what it's worth, Borealis, the people who did the art for this game, I think they did a tremendous job, especially considering every single character has a variety of poses and expressions and stuff. And Yeah, including a few that don't even show up in the game all that often, which means that you had to make the decision whether it was worth it to even include it, and I assume pay a little extra for one extra pose that a lot of people might miss. Like the one at the end of the Ash route where I got the bad ending, where they actually were like super angry and yelling at the main character. That I had not seen that art, that key art of that character anywhere else in the whole game, which leads me to believe that might be the one and only time you get it, is if you just happen to get the bad ending in one instance for a single scene in a visual novel like this. That is, talk about going above and beyond, right? But you made the decision of including it, and I assume paying extra for it, and that's to be praised. It means that you care about this game, and you care about making sure that it's as good as possible, even if it does cost you a little extra. So yeah. This voice. Skull, wait up! You were a great antagonist today. I like how calmly you delivered the lines. It made the characters seem extra scary. Oh, you do soundtracks for games on commission. Wow. If I ever make a visual novel, which I probably never will, then I'll be sure to reach out to you and look into it. Oh, thanks. I smile bashfully, and several other actors nearby offer similar praise. I'm surprised since I'm such a rookie, but I appreciate their kind words. They sucker me into a conversation about how I found the experience and whether I'd like to give it another go sometime. Yeah, and I'm just going to take a shot in the dark here and say all the characters have, or most of the characters have poses that are missable. At the very least, Ash had that one. I'm sad that I got to see it because it meant I got the bad ending, but I'm happy I got to see it because it's one more way for me to appreciate this game. Is like I came across something a little extra. Couldn't leave it out. Well, then I'm glad I got to see it. It would be a pity to go to waste. It didn't go to waste. For all the people who played this game, I wonder about this sometimes. People who play games, how many of them actually get to the end? And you can make guesses, I guess, with PlayStation games, because if you just make a trophy for seeing the ending in any way, then you just check and see how many people booted it up versus how many people got that trophy, and you can kind of guess. But I do wonder, a lot of people, for all the effort that you put into games, how many people actually end up experiencing it all and appreciating it all? And it has to be a very small number. And I'm sure that that's something that game developers think about when they're making games, is like, how much effort do I really want to put into this? And when you decide it doesn't matter, you'll put in the extra effort anyway. That's just awesome. That's what that is. A lot of missable stuff. Well, all the more reason for me to try and get that platinum for this game. Although, frankly, I'll probably get most of it off stream. The platinum will involve getting every single ending, including all the bad ones for all the characters. Just because then it'll be my way of appreciating this game that you've made. Yeah, and you're right. That's a way of I guess that's a way of rewarding people who go for the full experiences. If you go out of your way to see every single thing in this game, you get a little reward for it by getting to see something that a lot of people are going to miss just because they're going for a single ending, or because they gave up halfway, or they wanted the best route and they looked up a walkthrough guide and they missed out. So yeah, rewarding people for their curiosity is awesome. Don't know what's wrong with my throat. Cold water and voice acting don't mix. What you really need is room temperature water Or what was the other thing? I think just room temperature water. It's probably the best thing you could do, honestly. They sucker me into a conversation about how I found the experience and whether I'd like to give it another go sometime. I'm still super new to this, so I'm very unsure, but today was a decent icebreaker. I guess I could try another small part and see how that feels. Although I will also say this, I really didn't like seeing Ash angry. But because I done goofed, not because it wasn't great to see a missable sprite. I didn't like it because it meant I felt bad. It means that we let Ash down, and they just couldn't take it anymore. And I hope to God we don't see Malik do that, or Brianna, or... I guess we'll see what happens. When I tell them this, they seem overjoyed. A couple of them then start murmuring to each other quietly, nodding at me. Then they seem to agree on something, turning to me at last. If you'd like to test yourself with something bigger, we got something planned for the end of the month. Oh, the show! That might be a bit too soon for Skull, don't you think? True, but it can't hurt to ask. She turns back to me with a bright expression. Skull, we put on public performances every now and then. They're not super serious or formal. They're more like a chance to just connect with the community and showcase some of the local talent in a casual way. We've got a night at the theater booked in a few weeks to perform a different play. It's a short one, but it should be really good. It's a medieval fantasy story about knights and dark wizards. We were hoping to solidify all the roles soon so we can start rehearsing properly. The group sessions will mainly focus on that from now on. You could totally sign up for one of the characters if you want. It'd really give you a taste of a more involved role. That's... I think that's a bit much right now. The worry on my face must be obvious because everyone chuckles. Even cured the wrath. Rightfully so. Man. Always be scared of the quiet one. Because when the quiet one peaks, tips over, overflows, like when the quiet one isn't quiet anymore, oh man. Don't worry, it's really not a super professional deal. Last year, someone forgot their lines for an entire scene. The audience found it hilarious, though. Everyone improvised their way around it. Well, if you could get away with something like that on stage, then I guess it can't be so bad. But still... You don't have to join in, but I guess it would be the perfect opportunity for you to find out if acting really is for you. She has a good point. I dipped my toe in the water today, so to speak, and it was alright. Doing something bigger would probably help me know for sure whether I'd really enjoy doing this properly or not. I automatically want to turn it down, but I think that's my old stubbornness talking. Plus, I came here to find new hobbies, didn't I? I wasn't planning on putting myself on display in public, but if I can gain something from it, and Malik would probably approve, wouldn't he? I know I'm supposed to be doing this for my own benefit, but it's because of him that I started. If I can get into something like he got into sports, then I might actually start to enjoy life more and gain a little shred of respect back from him for taking his advice seriously. It all makes sense, but I'm still not sure. Glancing at the expectant faces around me, I decide to at least be polite and entertain the idea. Well, what roles are free? What kind of characters are they? The lady smiles excitedly and goes to fetch the scripts for each character. There are a few smaller characters that don't have any lines, but one of the most important characters still doesn't have anyone assigned to it yet. She shuffles the scripts around until she finds the one she wants. This is the main character's second in command and best friend. You'd be a side character, but one of the more prominent ones. It's a really good role, but no one's taken it.
That'd be a really good choice for you if you want to get a proper sense for acting. Plus, you've already tried being a villain. This time you could be one of the heroes.
I take the script from her, and it instantly hits me how much bigger it is than the one I learned earlier. This is a much more involved role and would need me to do more than just remember a few words. I'd really have to embody the character and portray their feelings believably. This is a lot. I hesitate, stuck in a serious conundrum.
You seriously don't have to do it, but just think about it. You enjoyed that murderer role today, right?
That's not a sentence I want to hear about myself again. Yeah, it was good.
Exactly. You might end up being fantastic at this one. Why don't you do the same as last week? Just take the script home and read through it. If you can't imagine being able to do it, then it's no stress. Someone will take it.
It's nice that they really won't be mad if I don't commit, because I'm definitely not able to think straight about it right now.
Yeah, let us know in the next session. If not, we'll assign it to someone else. We kind of need to get things sorted so that rehearsals can begin, but we can wait one more session so you can think about it.
Of course, I'll need to make a decision quickly. Man, I didn't see this coming when I first walked through these doors behind me. I thought I'd probably just sit it out the whole time and never get involved. 7 days later, I become a fictional mass murderer and got myself partly coerced into one of the leading roles in a public performance. I never do anything half-assed, do I? My mind yo-yos between a bunch of different feelings and insecurities at high speed. In the end, I do what I did last week. I tell them I'll take a look and see what I think. I have the freedom to turn it down, but something tells me that I better consider it seriously. It might genuinely have an effect on this whole self-improvement thing that I'm trying to make happen. It's kind of unnerving to picture, though. This isn't just a little moment of make-believe in a practice room. This is a full-thrusted, into the limelight stuff. Well, that looks like a good stopping point. Yes. There we go. All right. Idiot Skull has decided to take up acting. Cool. I'm very curious to see how this will affect the relationship with Malik, though. Ash, at the end of Ash's part 1, said that they were leaving the door open, but it was not looking good. Malik was just straight up, nope, not going to happen. And even here, when he interacted with the main character, was very distant and really only seemed to forget all about it when he was thinking about his own past. It's hard to see a resolution, but perhaps the good ending for the Malik route is simply that Idiot Skull realizes they don't need a relationship to be happy. Like Malik realized he didn't need to lose his virginity to be happy. I don't know. I assume that it's going to end with them getting together because, come on, but I guess we'll see. Yeah, I guess we will see about that, Borealis. I'll be back next Sunday continuing on, and we'll have a better understanding of what's going on then. So, that was True Colors. And this is definitely different from the Ash route. Definitely different. Not a bad different, not a good different, different. And it's very interesting to see and think about what might come next. I guess the only way to find out is to come back next Sunday and see it then. So, thank you to Borealis and Andrea and Rothsathi for being here. Shout out to the lurkers and shout out to everyone watching on YouTube afterwards. My mouse is very dirty. On behalf of East Asia Soft, I have been Skull. Have yourselves a great day and a great week. I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.